Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kids Show. And first things first, I really want to wish everyone a happy Halloween. Hope you will have an awesome time, stay safe, and have all of the fun you can. As you can see, my boys, the Myers, are excited to get out there and do their thing. They are in my game room, and yeah, they're just waiting for me to open up the door. But guys, I figured what would be the best way to end the season of Halloween on October 31st, and I figured, man, let's just talk about Halloween Ends. All of us fans by this point have already seen the movie Halloween Kills, and so it's time to speculate on how that will carry over to the final film of this trilogy, Halloween Ends. And as you guys know, I reviewed Halloween Kills, and my conclusion was that I liked some things about it, but it's a low mid to me. So at this point, I feel like my rankings for the Halloween movies would be Resurrection at number 12, Rob Zombie H1 at number 11, Rob Zombie H2 at number 10, Halloween H2O at number 9. Then I would put Halloween Kills sitting above H2O at number 8. That's my personal rankings for the bottom the bottom side of the Halloween movie tier list. And despite me not thinking that highly of Halloween Kills, it's still a decent entry in the franchise. It wasn't a abomination by any means. It was okay. And that's my opinion on it. And if you liked it more than just okay, then I'm really happy for you. There's definitely no hate on my end. I hope people did enjoy the film more than I did. I just found it personally to be okay. And with that, honestly, I'm excited for Halloween Ends. I can't help myself. I'm a Michael Myers fan. I love the franchise overall. If there is a Halloween film that's coming out, I'm definitely going to see it. It just is what it is. And after having sat on Halloween Kills for a while, I was thinking about how Halloween Ends will turn out. Like, where is the story going to pick up 4 years later from Halloween Kills? And what can we assume is going to happen versus what we think will happen? And all the things we want to see happen, as well as the concerns that I do have for this upcoming film. So, this video will be discussing that in general, and I hope that people will have their input as well. But the first thing I want to talk about is, without a doubt, I think Karen is dead. Like, dead, dead, period. And there are actually multiple reasons why I do come to that conclusion. A lot of people think that the way her death was filmed could lead to them potentially salvaging her character and bringing her back. But I really do not think that's the case. I think the way that Karen's death was shot was simply to mimic Psycho, to give a shout out to Psycho. It's very Psycho-esque, obviously. And if there's one thing I can definitely give David Gordon Green is the fact that he is a professional at referencing classics or previous films in the franchise. I think that's honestly the thing that he's best at when it comes to doing Halloween. But the main reason why I think Karen will indeed stay dead is the fact that I really do not see them copying the Frank Hawkins treatment. I don't see them bringing back a character that the audience has assumed has been murdered. They clearly did leave the option open. I mean, we don't see Karen going into a body bag or anything. That is on purpose because they seem to keep changing their mind on how they want to make this trilogy go. And so they leave these openings to see maybe something changing down the lines that they have room to maneuver. But yeah, despite all that, Karen's not coming back. I mean, there's really no reason for her character to come back. I think Halloween Kills shows that there's really nothing left for her character to do. So letting her stay alive really does nothing to the narrative whatsoever. Her death more so will give more depth to the story, more depth to the character of Laurie Strode and Allison. I think overall Laurie will manage to take this as well as you can expect someone to, whereas Allison, I think, will not. You have to take into account the fact that Allison lost her parents, her boyfriend, like three of her really good friends all in one night to Michael Myers. I really think that Allison's character will more than likely go off the deep end, possibly becoming sort of Halloween 2018 Laurie Strode in 4 years. Whereas I think Laurie more so will mellow out. She'll be more chilled back despite everything she's been through. I think she's going to have a way more level head and just kind of let go of all the hatred that she does have, but also prepare herself for what will inevitably come. maybe Lori will finally come into her own as a more chilled out Loomis, I'm guessing, because she kind of, at the end of Halloween Kills, seems to be all poetic and blah blah blah. Sort of like how Loomis was when he would talk about evil and Michael Myers' nature. So maybe she comes into a more hippie Loomis type of deal. I don't know. Swear to God, if I see Laurie Strode smoking a blunt while trying to talk some sense into Allison to just chill the fuck out, I think I'm gonna lose my shit. I do really think that would be hilarious, but honestly, maybe Allison and Laurie will grow apart. Because maybe Allison will be too much like old Laurie, and Laurie will just be like, man, just, you gotta chill out, just like, smoke this blunt with me right now. Just, calm it down, youngin', chill the fuck out. I'm gonna get some shrooms tonight and we can just, talk about some evil. And Allison's just gonna be like, man, fuck you, Grandma. I'm gonna start my own armory and I'm gonna hunt down Michael Myers whenever he decides to come back, and I don't need you. But yeah, overall, it is important to establish the fact that Allison is different from Lori when Lori was her age. When Lori was her age and fought Michael Myers, she did it clearly in self defense. She didn't embrace violent nature in order to fight back, just simply to defend herself and defend those in Michael's line of sight. Whereas Allison, when her family was attacked, when her friends attacked, she immediately went into fight mode. She wanted to become the aggressor to stop Michael Myers. So she has definitely a violent nature when put into an extreme situation. And the end of Halloween 2018 established that by her holding onto the knife, she didn't let go. Whereas Lori in 78, she would throw away the knife after she thought it was all over. Allison, no doubt, wants to beat Myers' ass, straight up. So I think she's gonna be gunning for him. Speaking of which, where the fuck is Michael Myers gonna be for like 4 years? I don't understand. He's gonna be chilling in his house, staring out his sister's window for 4 whole years. Nobody's gonna notice a thing, we promise. He's gonna go visit the hermit in Halloween 5 and sleep in his makeshift shit shack for 4 years. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect plan, Mikey. You spent the whole year there in a different timeline. What's 4 more years? No big deal. But yeah, also someone that has been established to be a really important part of this story is Sheriff Frank Hawkins. He clearly dealt with Myers the night of 78, and clearly he feels as though he really needs to stop Myers because not only does he feel guilt for stopping Dr. Loomis from killing Michael Myers, but also the situation regarding his friend, his colleague who died in 78 when they did encounter Michael Myers. He had told him that, yeah, we got him. And so I'm sure that Hawkins wants to make sure that he's able to get Michael Myers because he feels like he has to. But clearly, the end of Halloween Kills establishes that both Frank Hawkins and Laurie Strode are on the same page. So, without a doubt, when Halloween ends, they're going to be working together to stop Michael Myers. But in the end of Halloween Ends, my best guess is that Laurie will end up sacrificing herself in order to save Allison in some sort of way, or to be able to preserve Allison's life so that she may go on to live. Basically, doing something virtuous in stopping Michael Myers instead of just going after Myers out of pure hatred for the past. In this, perhaps showing Allison that going down the path of hatred and evil isn't the right way. That is my best guess on what could possibly happen. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. I'm not the best at guessing shit, but upon sitting on this, I think that's the best way to go about it. And I think that kind of best falls into line with the one hint that Jamie Lee Curtis gave us about Halloween Ends. She said basically legacy, the legacy of evil and the nature of evil. The last character that's important in question is obviously Lindsay. It feels like her part of Halloween Kills didn't really wrap up. It was kind of left open ended. She survived, which is great. But what is Lindsay going to do in Halloween Ends? I feel like maybe it was purposely left open ended to see if maybe Kyle Richards would want a more substantial role in Halloween Ends. Perhaps, I'm guessing, maybe taking sort of Karen's role a little bit. She is obviously a beloved character, and I think she was received very well in Halloween Kills. Now, when it comes to concerns, I definitely have a few concerns, to say the least. My main concern after watching Halloween Kills was straight up, are they trying to make Michael Myers like Jason Voorhees? This is a big red flag that I had. Honestly, I don't want this to happen. I want Jason Voorhees to be Jason Voorhees. He does his thing, he's interesting. Hopefully, Friday the 13th will be coming back soon because I do want to see Jason Voorhees do his thing. But Michael Myers, he is definitely a different beast, and with the changes they made in order to basically go through the motions that they had planned with this new trilogy, I really do feel as though they're kind of taking this slightly childish route with Michael Myers, and this scares me. Now, I'm really not sure if anyone noticed this, but let's begin essentially when he's in the elderly people's house. After stabbing the black chick in the neck with the light tube, he then grabs the old man, brings him to the counter, begins turning to grab each knife that's hung up, and proceeds to stab the old man in the back with it. A lot of people perceive this as, oh, he's testing the knives to see how they feel as he's literally sinking them into flesh. And I perceived it exactly the same way too, but I was looking at his movements and they don't necessarily not feel very Michael Myers, but it came off as very childish to me. And I noticed this literally in my first watch, and I was kind of looking at it a little bit strange, but I didn't really think much of it at the time. As other events started to unfold and certain situations were playing out, I then started to think more like, there's some weird childish thing going on with Michael Myers. Other events that kind of add to this is essentially after he kills Nurse Marion Chambers and the black couple, he then pulls them out of the car and basically puts them on the playground spinning wheel. And I believe he does hang Nurse Marion Chambers from the swing set. The other red flag is when he does kill the gay couple in his house. He poses them as they are in a photo in the room, and it just also comes off as him just childishly copying something, not quite understanding what it means or what it is. He's just posing them in that way. But then this right here, this is what scares me most of all.
He's a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man and the mind of an animal.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And if they really do go down this route of basically making Michael this child in a man's body since he went to the sanitarium as a little kid, that to me is just you kind of ripping into what Jason is kind of all about. And to me, if you take the motivation or like the mentality of another slasher villain because you basically retconned Michael Myers' entire motivation and you can't seem to give him real motivation of his own, to me, that is an enormous failure. And I will definitely see this in a very negative light. And honestly, it just makes no goddamn sense at all. There is nothing in the original Halloween to make me believe that Michael Myers has a very childlike mentality. He's very, very crafty, smart. The dude starts driving like nothing, even though he's never taken a lesson in his life. So there is nothing that even adds to the very concept of Michael Myers having a childlike mentality. But hopefully, I'm just overthinking it and they're really not going down this route and everything will be perfectly fine. Please, I don't want this to be bad. I don't want this to be Jason. Please just make me be wrong. Then another huge red flag, something that's highly concerning to me that if this goes too far, will indefinitely ruin Halloween Ends for me, is basically in an interview that David Gordon Green gave to Up Rocks. I will post the link in the description, archived, of course, while discussing the 4-year time skip that Halloween Ends will have. Up Rocks acts David Gordon Green. So, do you incorporate things that have happened in the real world since then, like what we're going through right now? Would that be part of it? And David Gordon Green responds, yes. Uprock says, I guess there's going to be more masks around. And David Gordon Green says, so if you think about it, I mean, we're relieving these characters on Halloween 2018. The world is a different place. So not only do they have their immediate world affected, by that trauma, having time to process that trauma, and that's a specific and immediate traumatic event in the community of Haddonfield. But then they also had a worldwide pandemic and particular politics and another million things that turned their world upside down. Okay, so guys, just all of this is not good. There is nothing good that can come of this. I really do hope that they choose to not go down this route. I really don't want to see this happen. Besides the fact that COVIDs has unfortunately become a highly politicized topic in the world entirely. Bringing up modern day social political topics is extremely polarizing. We are such a fractured society right now. To do this is deliberately to do something that has a stigma to it, to get attention that will be polarized, and half the country will probably love you, and then half the country will absolutely hate you. Why do this to half your fan base? Make no mistake about it, the social political topic they did bring up in Halloween Kills in regards to the mentally ill being treated unfairly is a test. This particular topic that they did choose was a topic that anybody who is even remotely reasonable would get behind. Obviously, we would like people with mental illness to be treated better and more fairly. Yeah, unless they're into kids and whatnot. But even including this very political topic in Halloween Kills, it made the film feel disjointed. It just felt added into the narrative and it really just doesn't fit well. It does nothing to make me like the characters that I should be liking in the film. Matter of fact, it makes me more turned off to most of those characters that the film should be concentrating on making me get behind and support. Now, if David Gordon Green continues to pursue these politics and now decides to include hyperpolarized politics, then it is a no go entirely. The last thing I think any of us want is to be preached to by these Hollywood losers who honestly don't really know anything at all. Talking COVIDs is not only extremely polarizing in general, but also it will take away from the narrative. It will feel as though it's been thrown in there. And more than likely, it will be used as a way for Hollywood to preach to us. Yes, you can tell I'm really not feeling this shit because I'm just tired of these fucking weirdos in higher places punching down at us or just trying to tell us what we should do when these motherfuckers literally know nothing at all. And really, what is to stop Halloween Ends from doing this? It is the last in the trilogy after all. They pretty much have free reins to do whatever they want, but honestly, if they go down this route and take it to a hyperpolarized place, it is a no-go for me. I will, sail the high seas, period, and then probably, forget this film. But, hopefully, I'm hoping that David Gordon Green will do the right thing and not go into politics, at least in a way that, will be hyperpolarizing. The last thing I want to see is these people fracture the Halloween horror community the same way the idiots over at Disney fractured the Star Wars community. But while we are on the topic of David Gordon Green, the final concern I really do have that isn't nearly as problematic as the previous two concerns that I have is the overall writing of the characters in these movies. Honestly, David Gordon Green, I thought that he could do a good job, and for the most part, he has been doing a good job with directing and whatnot. I thought that he could take on this task, particularly because he directed the film Joe. And Joe was the kind of film that I could see a Halloween film kind of having the vibe of. And in that scenario, David Gordon Green did a pretty good job. But honestly, where Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills really shit the bed is with dialogue. None of these characters even feel remotely real to me. I just think that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride can't write dialogue. It's so bad. It's so genuinely bad, guys. Like, they try to make that shit so goofy and it just takes away from the tone so much. Like, stop with the joking shit. I mean, if you guys like it, I understand. Like, a lot of people get into that whole, oh, Marvel-esque sort of like little comedy bits all over the place of a film that you want to try and take somewhat seriously, but then also enjoy the lighthearted shit to it. I understand people like that, but I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. They cannot write a character that I can get behind or I can relate to or I can at least understand and take somewhat seriously. They cannot write a Rachel for nothing. That is just the reality of it. They cannot write a Rachel from Halloween 4. I think that they should bring someone else in to write the dialogue. That's obviously more than likely not going to happen, but I mean, look at John Carpenter. He was really smart to get Deborah Hill to write characters that she could probably better write for, and it worked out, in my opinion, with the original Halloween. So guys, if you can't write characters, get someone who can. Because making a character funny does not make me instantaneously like them. More than likely, they just come off as complete goofballs. But anyway, speaking of John Carpenter, he definitely needs to come back and do the soundtrack for Halloween Ends because, I mean, Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, both really great soundtracks. That is definitely something that I completely support. The music in Halloween Kills really does shine when, Michael Myers is murdering the shit out of people. But John Carpenter, if Halloween Ends does turn out to be a social political preaching fest, I do invite you to pull a John Carpenter and purposely make a shit soundtrack for the movie. But guys, just to top it all off, the one thing I really, really do hope to see, probably more than anything else. I mean, we all talk about how Michael Myers is the shape, he's the mysterious guy, but to me, the most mysterious guy of all in the Halloween franchise is without a doubt Ben Dramer. Let's face it, guys, we have seen Michael Myers' face far too many times for me to ever be comfortable with at this point. But man, it has been over 40 years and we have not seen Ben Tramer's face, not once. Well, unless you consider this still being a face. Ben Tramer was the love interest of Laurie in Halloween 1978 that we never did get to see. Then in Halloween 2, he was accidentally murdered by a police officer that ran him over and he burned to death, unfortunately. And ironically, he was wearing a very similar getup to Michael Myers, however, his mask had blonde hair. But as we know, Halloween 2 stuff is non canon. But now in Halloween Kills, he was name dropped. And I feel like at this point, the most exciting thing is finally putting a face to this name. I want to know the man who Laurie Strode wanted to go to the dance with. Yes, I'm really dead serious about this shit. I really don't care. That is the one most important thing to me, in all honesty. The one other thing I really am hoping for, but if it's problematic, I'd rather them stay away from, is to perhaps maybe do another flashback. But mind you, that's only if necessary. If it's not necessary, don't do it. I really don't want to see them butcher anything in the original film. That would be very disappointing to me and probably just make me think very lowly of Halloween Ends in general. I know this obviously won't happen because, well, horror films are very low budget, but I would love to see them actually CG Jamie Lee Curtis to look like her Halloween 1978 self. That would look insane to me. But once again, that would be only if they take it seriously, like to the level they did in Captain America Civil War, where they CGI'd the shit out of RDJ to make him look literally just like his younger self. That was insane and jarring. And finally, I think the last important thing I think we would love to see is specifically a proper end to the Laurie Strode saga. And I'm talking about Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode very specifically here. It's time to finally bring it to an end. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Laurie Strode fan. 78, she is like one of the best final girls in my opinion, but it's time to let it go. Like, they've depended on Jamie Lee Curtis to get them through so much shit, to constantly go back to this woman because they can't manage to get anything off the ground. It really is kind of a shame. This will, without a doubt, be the last time Jamie Lee Curtis is in a Halloween film. It is crazy to think about in itself, but it needs to come to this point. I mean, horror films really tend to not be very expensive to make, especially slashers. Do something creative, do some great writing, make some good characters that people can get behind. They've always depended and kept going back to Jamie Lee Curtis because it's just the easy thing to do, the easy way to make money. And I really am interested to see what is a post Jamie Lee Curtis Halloween, which is why I'm sad they kind of did drop the sibling gimmick overall, because it's like I felt like it was something that he could have went with for this trilogy and then started something completely different afterwards, now that Jamie Lee Curtis would have been done. Because despite having it always been the way it's been, now Michael Myers just lacks something. It just feels empty somewhere. Like his motivation is constantly in question. I think that the main reason John Carpenter hated the fact that he brought the whole sibling thing into it is that you can make tons of films, tons of sequels off that as long as there's family to for Michael to kill essentially. But I think this trilogy has shown us that without that, it kinda just feels samey. Like, in the sense that, is there a point to going past the original movie with Michael Myers being so motivationless? I do wanna see them try to do something unique, new, and creative without having Jamie Lee Curtis to fall back on when they fuck it all up. But more than likely, they'll just do a fucking remake with the same characters and everything. I mean, that's just how it goes, guys. I have such slow expectations from Hollywood, and still somehow they manage to disappoint me. I mean, they have the balls to remake Scarface as well as to attempt to remake Enter the Dragon, so it doesn't surprise me at all. But anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and if you can, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me over on Twitter if you want to continue the conversation. With all that being said, guys, have a happy Halloween. I'm out. Peace.